Alright, welcome. My name is Stefan Hartman. I'm the Managing Director of the European Tourism Futures Institute. This is my colleague Postma, Professor of Scenario Planning and Foresight. We would like to talk to you about a recent phenomenon called Overtourism. And we have been working together with the UNWTO, the World Tourism Organization from Madrid, on several publications. One of our colleagues, Albert, is leading this research team, and he'll talk about this topic.
Well, thank you, Stefan. It's a pleasure to be in the Good News Show. Both Stefan and me are both social geographers and spatial planners too. And recently I finished my PhD study on the tilting of the attitude of residents towards tourism in their own destination. And when I finished my PhD study in 2013, basically we discovered in the media that there was a lot of attention for the riot against tourists in Venice, for example, in Barcelona, in Lisbon. And that made us decide to pilot the results of my PhD study also in urban areas. And we started the pilot study together with our network that we have at ETFI in Tallinn, in Amsterdam and in Berlin. And the results of my thesis proved valid, and so it led into a study that we conducted with CELT, and CELT is the Center of Expertise, Leisure Tourism and Hospitality of the Netherlands. And in this network we collaborate with another University of Applied Sciences in Breda. So the pilot study was presented at the ITB in Berlin in 2015, March 2015. And you have to realize the ITB is the biggest tourism fair in the Netherlands. It's both for businesses, for the entire tourism industry, and for consumers and for universities. And it's an honor to be able to present over there. We presented the results of our pilot study in Tallinn, Amsterdam and Berlin. And we also presented a call for cities to participate. And at that particular moment, CELT embraced us, and together we started a project in, let me consider the list, Copenhagen, Berlin, Lisbon, Barcelona, Amsterdam and Munich.
And Albert, I think a lot of students were involved in the research in these cities?
Yeah, that's an interesting question that you raised, because for us we have in our third year's program, we have a project module in which many students participate. And to be able to conduct a study in the cities, we decided to send students in couples to the different cities to do interviews with residents and also with the industry. And it was a risk, of course, to send students away, but they took the responsibility and they liked it very much. The module was very positively evaluated, and they conducted 25 interviews in each city. And additionally, we have done a survey as well. That was done back home, and we interviewed in the survey we covered about 400 residents per city center. And ultimately the research report was never published because the World Tourism Organization already showed some interest. And last year, 2018, we finally managed to sign a contract with the UNWTO to publish it as a handbook under their brand name.
And that's this one?
That's this one.
That's this one,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
However, the project continued, and a year later we started with a similar kind of study in Salzburg and Riga and in 5 Flemish cities of arts like Antwerp and Brussels. This report, however, was not published under UNWTO brand, but it was published by ourselves, and you can find it on our website www.etfi.eu. However, this first volume led to a second volume in which we invited 18 cities around the world to describe their strategies to deal with overtourism. And the 18 cities responded in a nice way, so we have 18 case studies in the second volume. That's this booklet, in which the cities describe their strategies to manage overtourism. I believe I already said that. And this was presented at the ITB in 2019, 2 weeks ago.
In the meantime, we also did another project on overtourism, particularly for the European Parliament, also together with a few of our partner institutions, led by Breda University of Applied Science. We investigated kind of very broadly the phenomenon of overtourism and possible policy responses. That's also the title of the report. It's available online if you go to the European Parliament website. And that study really tries to understand the recent state-of-the-art knowledge about the topic of overtourism. So it tries to define overtourism, draws together all sorts of recent literature. It looks into case studies. It includes about 41 case studies on overtourism plus possible responses, so policy implications. And it also reviews different sources, recent sources, on overtourism and evaluates each of these sources. And we came up with a big list of possible interventions to deal with overtourism. And I think that's very important to know that there's a lot of attention to overtourism. We try to understand this phenomenon as good as we can, and well, Albert has been doing so for the last 10, I guess, to 15 years. But I think what is very important now is how can we use these strategies instead of responding to overtourism, like as if it just happens overnight and we have overtourism, that we move forward, and that we move forward to anticipating overtourism, that we see this coming, that in advance we think of possible solutions, possible future scenarios, and develop, I think a good outlook on what the future could be, and that we take action in advance and not respond too much to overtourism. I think that's an important challenge also for many destinations that deal with overtourism, but also for destinations that are developing at this moment, and they might reach soon or later also a potential state of overtourism. I mean, these destinations, they are on time, they could take action, and I think, well, in today's society, with expected growth of tourism, well, they need to take action, and it's their responsibility to do so, that they really become responsible destinations. I think that's also going to be a really important topic for the European Tourism Futures Institute, but I think for many students as well, in the near future.
At the same time, I also would like to highlight that the term overtourism was not chosen by us. It was introduced by Skift a few years ago, and it would not have been the word that I would have chosen, because overtourism emphasizes very much crowding, whereas the annoyance about tourism is a little bit broader than that only. It's also about the attitude of stakeholders, for example. And well, overtourism is a little bit a buzzword nowadays, but it simplifies the problem a little bit, according to me. But anyhow, I think CELT and ETFI, we lead the debate at the moment in overtourism worldwide. We also wrote an article in the journal Sustainability, in which we describe a little bit the history of the concept and how it came about and what the consequences and uses of the concept are nowadays. In the meantime, of course, it has been taken up by many other authors, and it's growing rapidly.
And I actually think that is a good sign, that it's growing rapidly, that a lot of people pay attention to the phenomenon, because I think then we start to really embrace strategic ideas, strategic visions on tourism and destination development, and also in the future try to avoid as much as possible the negative aspects that we actually call overtourism. We could try to prevent that, to get balanced, responsible destinations. I think that is what's also driving us for the next years, probably.
I think now that we've come to the end of this presentation, we will also provide you with all the links to the reports we've published and also to the presentations we gave both in Korea and Seoul and in Berlin.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for
your
watching.
attention.